Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 16 waiver wire video to help those of you who have made it past the first round in your fantasy playoffs and are continuing to go towards that championship. So of course, if you're watching this, you probably are continuing that, and you guys had a great week one in your fantasy, or maybe you're a team or league that is starting their fantasy playoffs now. Hopefully this waiver wire video will help you guys out. Now, reminder, there is a game Thursday night, 2 games on Saturday, and 3 games on Monday for Christmas. So hopefully you guys are paying attention to that. Have a great Christmas, everybody. Enjoy your time with family and friends, and let's talk about some waivers. Now, the first one, Baker Mayfield, going against the Jaguars this week. He's available in 46% of most leagues. I have probably mentioned Baker Mayfield probably every single waiver wire video at this point, and yet he continues to still be available in 46% of most leagues. Baker has played great, finishing Sunday with 381 yards and 4 touchdowns. The week before that, he had 20 fantasy points as well, with 2 touchdowns in the air and 1 on the ground, and now plays against a decimated secondary in the Jaguars, who have just absolutely struggled against the pass. Like, Jags are dealing with a lot. So at this point, Baker Mayfield is an absolute grab for especially a lot of teams that are dealing with injuries, or maybe you just have a quarterback that doesn't have a great matchup. Baker should be somebody you consider grabbing. Another quarterback you may want to grab is Gardner Minshew versus the Falcons. He's available in 75% of most leagues. And again, this is more if you're desperate for quarterback and Baker Mayfield is gone. Minshew could be a solid play. He finished with 20 points with 3 touchdowns and has been pretty consistent, averaging 17 points a game since the bye week for them. Possibly losing Pittman this week due to concussion, so that is definitely a concern. Look, if Pittman's out, I do worry a little bit for the Gardner Minshew matchup. And of course, the Falcons have been pretty good. But again, Minshew's definitely somebody you may want to consider, just because they're playing for their division and there's not a lot of quarterback options out there. So you may want to grab him as well. Now, running back, I've got Chandler versus the Lions. He's available in 48% of most leagues. Now, this is based off of if Alexander Mattison is missing more time, or possibly he's going to miss some play time, right? Like, Chandler may not have completely taken over that role as the RB1 for this Vikings team, but he outperformed Mattison in the one start he really got to. He finished with over 130 yards on the ground, a touchdown as well, giving the most opportunity. Again, moving forward, he should be someone you roster. Even if you're not sure if he's going to play, and we'll find out what's going to happen with Mattison, grab him. Like, he's probably one of your number 1 waiver. If you guys are doing fab, you should spend a good portion, I would say, at this point of the season, at least 50 to 75% of your fab to grab somebody like Chandler, who could possibly help win some games for you the rest of the playoffs. Now, the running back is Zamir White versus the Chiefs. He's available in 85% of most leagues. Again, Zamir played well filling in for the injured Josh Jacobs. Depending on if Jacobs is out again, this is the same situation I talked about with Madison. It's all based off their injury. White is a great pickup for your playoff team. White had 17 points this past Thursday, with 69 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Given the possible touches he's going to receive if Josh Jacobs misses, he's just an absolute solid flex play going forward. Now, wide receiver, I've got 3 wide receivers here. I've got Noah Brown versus the Browns. He's available in 60% of most leagues, with Nico and Dell being out. Noah absolutely stood up and played very well as the wide receiver 1, and that was without Stroud. He had 11 targets with 8 receptions and 80 yards and a touchdown. Again, remind you, without Stroud. Now, given the fact that Stroud most likely will be back this week, I look for Noah Brown to continue that success. Obviously, Nico may come back, and I'm hoping he does, especially for a lot of you who have him on your roster. But I still think Noah Brown's still going to succeed, even with that, based off the fact that Nico and Noah can do this together, especially since Dell is out for the season. I still think Noah should be on your roster. Another receiver you may want to grab is Josh Palmer versus the Bills. He's available in 71% of most leagues. Palmer's back from IR and had a great game. He played with a backup quarterback, so obviously that does hinder, and no Keenan Allen. But with Palmer there, he had 4 receptions, over 100 yards in the air, and a touchdown. He should see plenty of targets his way, even if Keenan Allen's back, just because they're going to be forced to throw. I think this matchup against the Bills is going to be tough for them. Even with Easton sticking there, he's going to have to do something. And I think Josh Palmer is the one that's going to benefit. They definitely have a tough matchup. And obviously with a new head coach, who knows? But all these players are playing for a roster spot going forward on this team. they may play really, really tough. Another receiver you may want to consider is Dontayvion Wicks versus the Panthers. He's available in 97% of most leagues. Wicks played really well with just under 100 yards in the air on 6 receptions. The biggest reason you should absolutely grab him is the fact that Christian Watson may still be out. Jaden Reed is obviously, maybe gone. Like, we're not really sure. He had a toe injury. So that's putting Dobbs and Wicks as your starting receivers for the Packers. And the Packers have done pretty well in the air. So with that said, keep an eye on, obviously, Watson. Keep an eye on what's going to happen with that toe injury with Reed. If those two receivers miss the game, Wicks is an absolute must-grab this week. Now, at tight end, I've got Isaiah Likely versus the 49ers. He's available in 38% of most leagues. It's gotten down some, but again, I mentioned Likely, and yet he's still available. Like, I keep talking about him. He should be on your roster. After taking over for Mark Andrews, Likely is averaging 15 points a game tight end right now and becoming a huge target for Lamar. In those 3 starts, Likely is averaging 6 targets a game as well. So again, he is becoming the favorite target for Lamar Jackson, and yet he's still available in 38% of most leagues. Grab him if you can. Another tight end you may want to consider grabbing is Tucker Kraft versus the Panthers. He's available in 90% of most leagues. Kraft has done a great job for the Packers and slowly becoming a favorite for Jordan Love, especially, again, with all the injuries at the wide receiver core. Kraft has had 2 touchdowns in the last 4 games. He's averaging 10 points a game in the last 4 games as well. He definitely should be considered as someone you may want to grab, especially if you're in a super, a premium tight end league or something like that. Kraft has done a great job. And then again, with the injuries at wide receiver, he may have a bigger role going forward. Now, the last tight end you may want to consider grabbing is Darren Waller versus the Eagles. He's available in 36% of most leagues because there were a lot of people who dropped him. Waller's coming back from IR and just had 8 points this past weekend. He saw 6 targets and should increase in the 2 games the rest of the season. Both teams left for the Giants struggle against the pass, and they really struggle against the tight end position. So Waller has a great playoff schedule. Again, he just came back from IR. Some people dropped him. Look for your rosters and see if he's available. You may want to consider grabbing him and let DeVito cook. So with that said, those are my Week 16 waiver wire video. If you guys have questions of players you should grab or drop, again, hit us up in the comments down below. If you're in dynasty leagues and you're still doing some trades and you're trying to win this season, hit us up in the comments. We'd love to help you with those trade questions. And again, make sure you guys smash the subscribe button. Make sure those noties are on because we'll be dropping your start and sit videos as well to help you guys out with those lineup questions. Again, Thursday games, Saturday games, Christmas games. Have a great holiday, and I'll check you guys out next time.